electricity pylons. Wondrous, appealing structures that provide the lifeblood for our lifestyle. In many ways, they are a lot like thrifting, and so it's therefore pretty convenient that we find ourselves smack bang in the middle of Arminghall Car boot sale with donuts and a small purse of valid currency. The question is, what shall we spend this currency on? We've got the 1989 Batman board game along with a Norwich City Football Club game of some description, but today I'm hungry for something more exciting. Something to get my nostalgia juices flowing like the Thames River, although hopefully with less detritus. At this point, 8 episodes in, I hardly need to tell you that the average British car boot sale is filled with junk. Acres of the stuff, and unfortunately, due to my burning desire to purchase anything which I remember with fondness from my past, it means the currency will dry up pretty quickly. Even things that I didn't actually own but I remember from a wistful point of view, such as this Michelin Man, appeal to me, although I didn't actually buy it, or the Supergirl, and definitely not that. Jesus Christ, welcome to Norfolk everyone. Matchbox Linkits! Megadrom! Anyone remember those? Nope, me either. But there was lots of old interesting things at this store. Check out this bicycle repair outfit. And this, the Vista Screen 3D viewer. It's a bit like those Carousel Viewmaster toys, but you've got one set of images which you swap out. It's actually pretty good, and the black and white bike certainly looked like it was in 3 dimensions. But I'm not about to start splashing 3D images onto a 2D screen like Tony Robinson. So, time to move on. More board games, Headache, Go for Broke, all good games to play around the dinner table after your after 8 mints. But what have we here in this box of junkables? Some kind of all-in-one game controller device. Curious, I probably could have picked it up for a few pence, but I don't really have any room. I say as I go in search for further crap to buy, like this SCSI cable. SCSI. Alright, on to better things, and first up is this PC maintenance book. I always like flicking through these things and getting my full nerd on. Some console games there, but no, not really. A bit further up, and what have we here? A Nintendo GameCube with some memory cards, boxed and looking in pretty decent shape. And rocking right up next to it, an Xbox. Again boxed, with all the stuff you need to rock. The guy wanted £25 for each, and, you know, they're probably worth that. Neither of these machines held enough appeal for me to commit, so I'll let some other punter pick these up. I'll probably regret that when I come to do a system review, but frankly I've got loads of other machines to cover first. He also had some PC games, but I'm getting bored of these DVD style cases. Big box or nothing from here on out. And here is a big box containing a gaming chair. I mean, what happened to sitting on the floor with your Spectrum getting neck strain? Kids these days. Just behind that I found this little Grundig stereo CD unit. I absolutely wasn't going to buy this, but then the chap said £2 and my ears perked up like an aroused monkey. It's got digital controls, a tape deck and even a CD in the drive to boot, and we'll find out what that is later on. A pleasure doing business with you, sir. Look at this chair. I want a bigger version of this to use with my laptop. It would be perfect. I also want this absolutely tacky Stratocaster CD rack, but not actually enough to purchase it. Now pay attention, you see this guy on the right in his chair? This is my kind of guy. Carlsberg don't do car boot stores, but if they did... He's got an Xbox here, a copy of Rock'n'Roll Maze under Acrobats, which I lusted over as a child. It felt like the Thinking Man's Screwball Scramble. There's a Game Gear cartridge and a couple of very 80s Casio watches, and then down here a Tiger 2XL robot with the tapes included. This is the 90s version of what was one of the first smart toys from the 70s. He can do memory games and the like, and I definitely snapped him up with the watches and the Xbox and some other bits which I'll show you at the end, all for 30 quid. Okay, at this point funds were pretty much dry. I had £10 left to eke out, and given we were only halfway round, it was bound to mean disappointment, especially as there were some good stalls to go. Like this one, selling a little snooker table, just like my brother had for Christmas in 1987, I think. Check it out, a box of army men, probably all suffering from post-traumatic stress by now. The same as these action men, I bet they've seen it all, grotty child hands, mouths, arses, everything. Now, this Dandy car set I liked. Big fan of the Dandy comic back in the day, and this looked absolutely mint, but I've really got no need for this other than to put onto my shelves, and no, I'm not really feeling that. Now this is more like it. A box of 20p items. We've got colour changing alarm clocks and, in fact, just lots of alarm clocks. Either these people really love alarm clocks or they really hate them. And look, it's an Arnie Terminator Genesis thing. The other side of the aisle we have a keyboard, albeit with a Windows 95 key, which doesn't interest me. You can get these for £1 for a ton nowadays. But below there, behind this Tank Girl artwork, we have an EIDE hard drive. It's 200GB, which seems quite a lot for EIDE, and hopefully useful for a PC build I'm hoping to do soon. It might not work, but for £2 it suited me down to the ground. Now check out this Brooke Bond D logo. This gives me an instantly refreshing 90s feeling. Although this is a wine holder. It seems a bit strange for a tea brand, but what the heck? And check out this vintage Monopoly set. The pieces are so old, they're made of cardboard rather than metal. No outer box. I don't know if it even came with one when it was new, but the board is included, and for £3 I had to pick this up. I didn't pick up this floor cleaning vacuum thing, but do you remember these? My nan had one, and this is the sort of thing you're likely to find these days on a TV shopping channel, trying to spin it off as a revolutionary lightweight cleaning device. Those marketing fiends. Few more board games here, Solitaire and Bug and Pit, family classics perhaps, I have no idea. Oh look, more keyboards, fancy that. These ones were going for 20p each. Whilst over there we have the Grape Escape going for £2. This was one of those games I'd see in the Argos catalogue and not really pay full attention to, but today I feel like paying it attention, and indeed paying £2 for it, and grabbing this Stargazer as well as a freebie was a no-brainer. Now wherever I go I always expect to find a Star Wars store, all of these looking in fairly poor condition, but I have no idea how much this stuff is worth, and also I don't want it. Over on this bric-a-brac stall, there were a few items of interest, in particular this tower unit, mainly as it has a 3.5-inch floppy drive. It's only got onboard graphics and sound, but for £5 I snapped it up, if only for parts. At this point I found myself with my last 50p, but there were still a few things worth spying. Space Lines looks like an incredibly early 80s game, and just down here we've got some 90s Simpsons toy things, suffocating in a bag. Ah well, they're past their prime anyway. This guy also had some interesting LCD games trying to pass off as Game Boys. The Blue Speak and Spell he wanted £8 for, and he had the 1989 Batman car, along with some other handhelds like that little Sonic thing, all of which appealed, but you know, no money, no problems. Have you seen that recent Kickstarter for a modern version of the Teasmade? Well, here's one my mum had, and I even used it when I was about 13 and had to get up for my paper round. Seriously, if you want pre-made teeth first thing in the morning, or you're just really lazy in the middle of the day, then this thing is way cooler and cheaper than that Kickstarter. Hey guys, guess what I saw? Yep, that's right, a sign pointing to a French music festival, which immediately blew over as I passed, so I propped it back up again, much to the stallholder's glee. Some more alarm clocks ahead, Thunderbirds models which look fairly recent, along with a Voyager piece, but really, me and alarm clocks just don't get along. I don't really want to hear Janeway barking orders at me first thing in the morning, although some people would probably quite like that. Now this Space Challenger computer game looked immense. It had a multitude of games and a wistful feeling of the 80s about it. The man wanted £6 however, and didn't seem convinced by my 50p offer. There you go, you can see both him and I walking off in disdain. No deal. But ultimately, I was quite happy with this because amid this massive wires on the next aisle was this 56k US Robotics fax modem. Now really, I was drawn in by this BT Wireplay logo, and if there's BT Wireplay anything inside, I'm having it. The lady wanted £2, but the wind seemed on my side, blowing her clothes rail over, which I helped rectify, and then she agreed to let me have it for 50p. Splendid. And that's the end of today's bargain hunting thrift session. The total spend was 47 English pounds, which under today's conversion rate translates to about $60 US. And all in a little under an hour and a half? A morning and cash well spent, I feel. I told you I'd show you the other bits I grabbed off that chap earlier. The first is this complete pack of X-Files trading cards, which just intrigued me. I never even saw these back in the 90s, but I do have a planned use for them. The next is that Game Gear cartridge. Never heard of the game, but it was £1, so I'm not going to complain. Now, as a break with the norm, I thought we could actually take a quick look at some of these other items and find out A, whether they work, and B, what's lurking inside. I'll start with this Monopoly set. It's actually got a date written on the inside box stating 1948, so this is one old game of Monopoly and it really shows. Take a look at those dice for instance. Rock and Roll Maze works pretty perfectly. The US robotics modem does indeed have a BT CD and pamphlet inside, so I'll be interested to find out what BT Wireplay related gems are lurking on that CD. Unfortunately, I need to get some leads for the Xbox, so that's off the cards for now, but this stereo has a CD inside, so let's find out what that is. Everything seems to be working just fine, and the CD is... well, it's Rod fricking Stewart, isn't it? That's a bit of a letdown. 2XL comes with a variety of pretty cool looking tapes, and indeed he works just fine, although his voice is a little more irritating than I remember.
Me on. The name of this program is the same name that's printed on the cassette in my chest.
He essentially works as an interactive quiz, a bit like the MB Omni Entertainment System Tecmo demonstrated a few weeks ago. I'll put a longer video of him in action up on my extra channel if you fancy listening in all his glory.
This is a very good answer if you are trying to be a comedian. You are wrong. It's not a good answer, just a funny one.
So how about that computer? Well, it's incredibly clean on the inside for one, suggesting it's either been used very little or kept in an incredibly clean environment, possibly both. We've got an AMD Sempron processor inside, an 80GB EIDE hard drive, and 500MB of memory. Nice! So does it boot up? Well, yes it does. We've even got the profiles of the people who used it before, along with a few tax records even. Remember to wipe your hard drive, guys. But also think about this, we now live in a time where I can purchase a fully working PC that can play countless classic games for £5. This thing has so much more power than my 486 did in the 90s, and I had bags of fun with that. It's crazy, but also amazing. Anyway, last but not least, check out the Star Projector. It's got a tape in the slot at the bottom to play along as well, so I'll leave that to sound the video out, playing on the £2 Grundig stereo. Good times! Thanks for watching, see you next time.
Welcome to Star Science.
You know, we get planet loads of questions from boys and girls who want to know about stars, planets, constellations, black holes, galaxies smashing into each other, exploding stars, ET aliens, and all that other neat stuff.
Well, lucky you, because this planetarium is your rocket ship to deep space and beyond. Just pop on one of the seasonal star domes, dim the room lights, turn on the star projector light. Instant Cosmos.
Have fun while you learn about the mysteries of the starry night.
At this point, you can watch more, you can subscribe, help support me and get rewards at Patreon, or pretty much do anything else you desire. In any case, have a great evening.
Don't get scared now.